Hey, what's up everybody? It's Calton here from Start Your Systems and welcome to another MX Simulator tutorial video, and today I'm going to show you guys how to put name and number on gear. Now I'm going to show you how to do this on the 2013 Fly Evolution sonar gear created by DJ99X here on the forums, and this isn't really what you want here. This is just to show you what the gear kind of looks like. This is just if you download the regular SAF and you don't want to put name and number on gear and just ride with this gear. But if you want to download the PSD, I'll link that, but this is where it is. Fly Sonar PSD. PSD comes with JMs. And to show you more about JMs, JMs will be more crucial later in the video. But you cannot put gear and name and number on gear and so on and so forth in game without these JMs, which basically tell the gear where to wrap around a certain rider model, and this is the most used rider model right here. Pista or Patusta, however you want to say it, has made several rider models. I believe today we're using the Pista 3 model. It comes with this Alpine-Star neck brace and Alpine-Star boots. If you're using different boots and or neck braces, there will be different rider models that you will need. For example, I know Naupoi created the Garnet boot rider model. You need to move the gear onto that rider model for it to work, but I mean that's kind of unimportant. Unless you know how to do this basic stuff, you will not even begin to understand how to do the other stuff. So we'll show you how to do Fly Evolution sonar today, and once you download all the stuff from that PSD, you end up with this stuff right here. You end up with the rider body 2013 Fly Evolution sonar JM, the rider body FP. FP stands for first person. So when you're in first person mode, you don't see the neck brace because of this model right here. And you get the PSD, and that is all on this page right here, the PSD and the JM. So now I'll move on to show you guys just what you want to do with this stuff, and I'll jump into Photoshop. Alright, so here we are in Photoshop, and forgot in the last segment that I wanted to show something. So this whole 2013 Fly Evolution sonar thing really isn't a big deal. You can change this to name it whatever you want, as long as you have rider body and then a dash before it. So for example, let's just put like 2016 SYS right here, and then click, and then you have to do the same thing for both. But you have to have the .jm, and you have to have the rider underscore body dash or the rider underscore body underscore FP dash before it. So again, we'll put 2016 SYS and then click out of it, and we'll move that out of the way. So we've opened up the PSD in Photoshop, and you'll see on the right side in your layers there's a wireframe. Usually you don't want to have that clicked on because then it'll show up in game with a bunch of lines on your gear. That's just to show you where he has basically design the gear through and throughout. You have a spec map, which usually isn't important on gear anymore. Most gear creators just use a normal map. This is a normal map. You can see the neck brace up here. That gives it its defined edges. The gear has its defined edges, the pants, the boots, the gloves. But the main thing we're going to be working with today are the colors, and you can see down here, or maybe not, somewhere he has. Alright, so anyway, as I said, the main thing we'll be working with is color. Looking through the PSD here, it looks like he doesn't have any other colorways, so we're just going to work with this blue and like, I guess, tannish gray color with the orange accents. And then making gear is usually pretty easy. So what you want to pay attention to is there's a shading layer, right? You have this shading layer, and then underneath it you have, let's see, different parts. I guess that's just part of the gloves. But really importantly is you want to put your name and number under that shading layer. And what I'm going to do next is go ahead and rotate the entire image 180 degrees so we see the back of the gear a little bit clearer. And we'll just wait for that. And for now, I'm going to turn shading off. But again, like I said, crucially, you want to have your layer for your name and number underneath that shading layer. So we'll go ahead and hit the text tool, and I'll wait for this to load. usually PSDs that people make with how many layers and lines and stuff take a little while to load. Let's go ahead and just use impact for this, just a standard one. Where am I? Alright, impact. Alright, and then we'll put 5.2 and we'll just leave it in white. And if you want to get like really precise with how big and stuff you want your number to be, if you see the wireframe, each line on the wireframe is where the gear starts to like fade in towards the side of the bodies a little bit more. So you see this line right here, that's the last line before it connects with the side of the body up here and then comes around to the front. So usually you don't want to get any crazier than a little bit past the two middle lines when you're creating a name and number. So we'll just go ahead and extend this out to about there, center it, and then we have our name and number. And then usually what I do when it comes to the name and number is I will go ahead, and I don't want to do that yet, I'll do a layer style stroke. And I want to make it, so I'm over here, you guys can't see this right now, but want to make it just say this color right now. Well, let's make it that orange color actually. Let's get a little bit of a highlight. And I'm over here still. We'll just leave it at 3 and hit OK. And then we'll convert it to a smart object, rasterize it, and go to layer again, stroke. So you see it created another stroke layer on the outside of where I had already done that, and then I want to make it this bluish color so that it kind of goes into the gear, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so that it kind of accents a little bit better. And this is all just style. I mean, if you want just a simple name and number on your gear thing, then I mean, don't go crazy with this kind of stuff. Anyway, so now we've got it centered, we've got it looking nice and styled, and the next thing we'll do is put our name back here, so caps lock and then Brower. And of course you want to play around with this so that it fits, so I'm going to hit shift and make it smaller. Then we'll put it right above the number here. Okay, and then we'll go through the same little bits here. I don't need to do that just yet, my apologies. Stroke. Usually because you're using a smaller little bit right here, you could, or a smaller size of text, you drop that down to like 2 just so it doesn't look overbearing originally. And then we'll convert it again, rasterize it so we can edit. Style, stroke. Get the color, and then get it to match that blue again, and then we'll just move this bar so it looks a little bit cleaner. That about right there looks good. And there you have it. Name and number is now on the gear in your PSD. It's looking good. So you'll remove that wireframe so that you know that you've got the name and number where you want it on the gear, and it is no longer in your way of the gear, so when you export it out it doesn't look all stupid and have lines all over it. And then we'll put the shading back on, and you can crucially see the name and number is underneath the shading. Just as an example, I'll show you when you put name and number above shading, it makes it way brighter than the rest of the gear. You don't want that to happen. It looks unbelievably silly, so you want it underneath the shading in the gear, and it gives it that nice textured look. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and re-rotate this image 180 degrees. You don't want to have the image upside down or else it will not export to the JM correctly. So now we're in the set mode here for that. And we're good with that. So now you got your name and number on gear, and you are ready to send it out. So we'll go ahead and do File, Save As, and crucially you want this to be a PNG. And right now I'm in the right folder that I need to be in. It's off screen, but it's going to go to the folder that it needs to be in. So you want it to name this right here. Let's make sure I'm on the right side of the period. This needs to be named rider, in all caps still, rider underscore body dash. Once you're past the dash, you can name it exactly what the JM is. So we had 2016 SYS dash again, and then you can space, do whatever you want after that. And we'll just name this Kellen, whoops, double spaced, Brower number 52. And you will hit save. Okay. And just waiting for that to save out. Saving. Alright. There we go. So now here's the folder. Here it is in there alongside the other stuff. And if we open it in image real quick, you can see there it is, just the way you want it to look. Now, as I said, normal and spec maps are important. Disable your color so you don't have any color in the way of this. And then you'll click on your normal map in layers, and we'll save this out again. This also needs to be a PNG, and I'll just copy that from down. But crucially, you need to put underscore norm after the rider body 2016 SYS bit. No dash, it's an underscore and then norm, and then you'll hit save on that as well. And we'll wait for this to save out. As I said, there's several layers usually that need to be saved out, even if they're not highlighted. So this process can take a little bit sometimes. So just give it one quick second. Alright, so now we've got our norm in there as well. You'll deselect that and highlight spec. Again, as I said, most people that create gear nowadays tend not to do spec maps, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway just to show you. So you have underscore spec, save. Alright. Alright, so now you've got your folder pretty much complete the way that you want it. You don't want to keep the PSD in the folder, so I'm going to go ahead and move the PSD out. This is essentially everything that you want in the folder. If you're making more than one set of gear, you will obviously name that something different. For example, if I were up here and I wanted to make a different set of gear, a different colorway with my different number and everything, all you need to do is when you save out that new set, you can just name it like blue. So this is the blue colorway that we have right here. Once you're past this dash line in SYS, it really doesn't matter what you put after that, as long as you don't put any illegal characters or whatever. I think you can't put forward slashes, you can't put vertical bars. There's a couple other characters that you're not supposed to be able to use when you're creating a file line. And again, crucially, just make sure that you always have .png at the end of these, just so it doesn't, try to transform itself into a JPEG or something. That will not work in game. All right, so now you've got this folder the way you want, and I'm going to just go ahead and move this down just a bit. I need to find, here we go, SAF. All right, so what I'm about to pull up right here is a SAF creator, and you want to use this more often than not because it usually creates files that can compile together, and that's something good to do. So we have this folder, sorry, off screen right now, but it's called Fly Sonar. So we'll go ahead and browse, and it's on my desktop, so we'll just hit Fly Sonar, OK. Strip selected folder from path. You'll go to browse again on the bottom level, and we'll just name this, let's say, Kellen's gear test. Save. So now you'll have it saved on your desktop as something that you want to name it. You'll have it exported from the folder, and you'll hit create, and it'll say your SAF was created successfully. And here, right here, you'll have, whoops, Kellen's gear test.saf. So then all you will need to do for this bit is move it into your personal folder, and you're set. You've completed putting name and number on gear. Simple as that. I'll move it into the folder right now, and I will show you guys what it looks like in game. Alright, here we are in game now, and let's see, I've got everything that I want. I don't want to show you that yet because that's not complete. So we'll just pull up this old guy right here. And we'll go to riding gear, and we'll scroll way down to the 2016 bit. Got a lot of crap in here from people that gave me stuff from Supercross, so we'll go down all the way down. Keep going. Alright, there we go. 2016 SYS-Kellenbauer number 52 blue. So you saw that we saved that out. So we'll go back to main menu, and let's go ahead and just load up a simple JLV track so that we don't load forever. And we'll hit start, and we'll load in, and then you guys can see what the gear looks like. Remember, we had the Alpinestar brace on it. We had some kind of silverish looking Alpinestar boots. As you get more accustomed to editing gear, you will see, I'm going to go ahead and default load this again. As you get accustomed to making gear, you will see different ways to change the gear about. But this is just a simple test to show you name and number on gear. So there's the gear in game now. Everything was exported correctly, so you can see the neck brace is totally set up well, skinned correctly. The boots are on, they match to that. And if you look on the back, there you have your name and number. And I think that the spec may have done a little bit too much, which is, like I said, why people use norms now, but the spec made that gear very, very shiny. So you don't always need to use spec maps nowadays. But there you have it, name and number on gear. And it's as simple as following those steps to get it done. So if you have any more questions or things that you need answered, please feel free to comment on this video, or go ahead and hit us on Twitter at SYSOnYT, or at Facebook for facebook.com/startyoursystems. We will be glad to help you guys out with any questions that you are having on getting gear in game. And in the future, we will do getting name and number on bikes, skinning, so on and so forth. But for now, this has just been name and number on gear and exporting gear into game. So if you like this video, go ahead and like it and comment on it, subscribe, the whole usual bits. And for Kellenbauer here at Start Your Systems, we'll see you guys next time we do a tutorial video.